Hi everyone. um, as you'll know, most of you know that I came back from my mission trip about a week ago, and I just wanted to do one more video about Sunday night, which was a crazy night. um, well, basically what happened was, um, before I started my trip, I really, really wanted to go on it, and one of my prayer requests that I just kept on asking, I was like, God, I really want to get someone saved. And so then, the night before I left for the mission trip, um, one of my really good friends, Raquel, she encouraged me to write down a list of things that I really was believing for God to happen. So, um, I wrote for my very first one was to get someone saved, and then my second one was like pray for people to get healed, and then the third one was like pray for like 10 people. So when I was on the trip, the whole trip, uh, basically every single day, I was just, kind of believing for God to do something, um, for, God to like lead me to someone to pray with to get saved. Unfortunately, um, I never really, that never really happened. And so by Saturday, I became very discouraged, and I was like, God, I really want to get someone saved, and I kind of got sad and kind of let down and stuff. And then Sunday morning, we woke up, and basically, you know, it was like a free day, but a man came up, and I forgot his name. It was a black man from our team. I think he was like a pastor at some church, other church, and he encouraged us. He said, you know, even though this is a free day, uh, this is not your time. It's God's time. It's God's time. Um, basically, that we still have this last day on the mission trip, and we should give as much time as God, that we have for God. And He encouraged us, go out, talk to more people about Christ, get people saved. And it just was like, this is what I needed to hear, you know. So then that morning we dedicated the church. Like I said in my last video, it was really good. People were praying for us, and we prayed for them, and people got baptized and saved and healed, and it was just amazing to see, how thankful they were for this church. And um, came back, with my friends to the market, and I ran into this man named Ronaldo. He was one of the first vendors that I ran into, and one of the first things he told me was like, "Oh, you have beautiful blue eyes." He was like staring right into my eyes. It was really funny. I was like, "Well, thank you." And then I kind of like walked around his little shop. It was actually one of the biggest shops I saw, and um, he was working with another woman. I was just kind of walking around, and we kind of kept on talking. And then, you know, I kind of started asking questions like, "So, do you go to church somewhere around here?" And he said yes. I was like, "That's great. So, like, how long have you been saved?" And he said he's been saved ever since he was like a baby, ever since he was born. And I didn't argue. And then so then, I kind of told him about my story, about where I came from, and how I was, I grew up in a Christian, environment, godly environment, with loving parents. But then, uh, I didn't really, I didn't have a relationship with God. I wasn't following God like I should have, and so I rededicated my life. And after I said it, and I don't even know if he understood everything. He spoke English very well. He understood, but I don't know if he understood everything I said. But afterwards, he just seemed so thankful, and he said thank you. He didn't ask for me to buy anything from him. And so then I walked away, and I said bye, Ronaldo, and I went to other shops, and I bought like this really cool backpack that looks like Mexico, and then looks like the Mexican flag, and then I went to another shop vendor guy, and he had 8 kids, and his name is Juan, and he had 8 kids, and he was telling me all about his 8 kids and how he adopted 4 of them because his sister-in-law didn't want them anymore, and she was going to put them up for adoption, put them in like an orphanage or something, and he just said no, just give them to me, and I was very touched by that story. And I invited them to come to that night. We were going to have a service on the beach, and so I invited him to come. And then, finally we all bought what we wanted to buy, and there was like hundreds of us in there. Well, yeah, it was a lot of us. And then of our team, and then we came back to our hotel, and obviously we were on the beach, so a bunch of us went swimming. It was really nice, and people from the East Coast were like complaining. They're like, it's too cold, and from the South they're like, it's too cold, I can't go to the wind. And I was like, this is normal. It was nice. And then we and then you know uh I went back to my room and took a shower, and while I was there, I was just kind of praying to God. I was thinking about, you know still trying to get someone saved. I've been just believing the whole day, God, lead me to someone. And um basically I said, God, am I going to lead someone to Christ today? And he said, yes, you're going to lead someone to Christ. And I was like, okay, well, if that's what you say. And and then he said, Kara, you need to go back and talk to Ronaldo and invite him to the service, because I didn't invite him to service. I just talked to him about God. And so I was like, okay. But no one was at the market anymore. And our service was at 7, and I think it was about 6:30. And so, great timing. And so I grabbed my friend Joy Lee, and we went over there, and he was like the first, like the market was right across the street from our hotel, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but we weren't supposed to be over there. But Jesus was telling me to, so I went anyways, and then and then I was there. I told him, hey, Ronaldo, come to this meeting. It's gonna be great. And he was like, well, you recognize me? I was like, yes, I recognize you. You recognize me? He's like, of course I will. So then, got back to the hotel, and the service was gonna start. But then I found out that we weren't gonna have our service on the beach, because on the beach there was like a band playing, and there was a club next to us, and they were playing this band, and they were being very loud. And so we were just gonna have our meeting at the hotel like we had been the whole week. And so I came up to Peter Dusan, and we call him Pedro though. And so I was like, Pedro, I was like, I invited people to come to the service, but now we're gonna have it at our hotel, and I invited them to come to the beach. And he said, okay, well, let me see what I can do. Let's see what's gonna happen, because let's see if they stop being loud. And so he so maybe like 15 minutes went by. I was already past 7, and then um so then all of a sudden I heard like a voice over the megaphone, and then I see all of us kind of heading towards the beach, down the stairs to the beach. And then all of a sudden I went up to Pedro, and I was like, Pedro, I was like, are we going to the beach? And he's like, yes, we are. And then I ran up to him, I gave him a big hug, I like tackled him. And then I ran to the beach, and then Ronaldo was there, and I was so happy to see him. And then my dad started talking to him, and then Pedro came up, and he started talking to him. And then I was just kind of standing there. I mean, I could pick up what they were saying, because my dad and Pedro obviously they can speak Spanish, and I was picking up on what they were saying, and they basically asking him like, have you been giving God everything? Have you given your whole heart? Have you given everything to God? And he said, honestly, I have not. I have not been giving everything to God. And so basically we said, Pedro, Ronaldo, do you want to receive Christ? Do you want to give him everything today? And he said, see. And see, I do. And it was just amazing. It was too easy. I'm telling you, it was too easy. I was like, holy cow. And so he received Christ right there. He raised his hands in the air like he was surrendering everything to God. And he prayed right then and there. And then a little bit later on, he came up to the front of everyone, 152 of us, and I prayed for him, but I could only pray I was literally praying through tears. I could barely pray. And then my dad took the microphone, and then he prayed for him. And so it was just amazing. And the reason why I wanted to share that story was because I wanted everyone to know, God is freaking amazing. He's amazing. And that whole day was just completely, I could just see how when I was standing in front of everyone praying for him at the very end of the day when the sun was going down on the beach. It was beautiful. I could just see, God saying, "Told you so, told you so," in my face. It was good though. And I could just see how God had planned everything out, and it was like boom, 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 boom. I was just, I was in awe. And so I just wanted to share this with you, and I really just wanted to give God the glory for the first person I've ever led to Christ. And so, yeah, I just wanted to, share that and encourage you guys and encourage people. So, yep. Okay. Um, well, bye.